Welcome to the third and final unit of the sacraments. This has certainly been a challenging year for all of us, but we have hoped that you have learned how the sacraments help us to find and celebrate the extraordinary in the ordinary. The definition of a sacrament, which we hope you have memorized, is an outward sign of an inward grace, a visible sign in our world of God's grace that is present in our lives. Remember the diffuser bottle? Like fruit diffuses through the plain water, so God's grace infuses through our ordinary lives if we pay attention. Remember my first video? I showed you what happens when you cut through the middle of an ordinary apple. Inside, you find an extraordinary star. Right now, we are in the season of spring when so many ordinary things become extraordinary. If we bury this seed in the ground and wait, eventually this bright and beautiful flower will grow from it. That flower will sustain birds, bees, and other insects. This seed looks nothing like this flower. If you were from another planet, you would say, this could never become this, but we know that it does. In your bag, you have some seeds in a pot. Plant these seeds and watch the ordinary become extraordinary for yourselves. The seed has to die to be born into something new. You could say that the story of our faith is buried in the story of the seed and the flower. Our sacraments are meant to show us that heaven and earth are commingled, and the sacrament of Eucharist, or communion, is probably the best example of that phenomenon. If you remember from your sacrament match, the sacrament of Eucharist takes the ordinary sharing of a meal and it becomes the extraordinary experience of transformation. Like the seed transforms to a flower that nourishes, an ordinary grain of wheat transforms to bread that nourishes. At Mass, that ordinary bread is transformed into Jesus. The Church calls the changing of ordinary bread to Jesus transubstantiation, or changed substance. We share in the bread and we too become Jesus. We become the body of Christ. Heaven and earth commingled right in our own bodies. Miraculous. In our next video workshop, Mrs. Martin is going to talk to you about how the sacrament of Eucharist came from Jesus' Last Supper, a meal that we remember and celebrate at every Mass.